Hi there, WoW Soloist here, and we are recording a brief part 3 to the Create Your Personal Guild in Guild Wars 2. And again, we are in the post-launch of Heart of Thorns, which means pre-Heart of Thorns actual implementation. So we are in the, confusing, yes it is, we are in the new Lion's Arch City in front of the 2B new Guild Institute. Very pretty, very gorgeous building at Postern Waypoint. However, it's currently totally locked. However, what we have out in front are the same old pre-Heart of Thorns guild vendors who will do various things for you. Today we're more interested in this dude, the banker, and this little guy who happens to sell you influence for gold. So what we've done to date is we've gone a couple of days and let our building proceed. So what we've got now is we have a built guild workshop which lets us run two builds in a queue. So I can build two things at once. I have built a guild stash, which we'll look at in a minute. So that means we now have a guild stash or vault, which if we go to the guild banker, we can see, and this is shared amongst everyone in the guild. It's 50 slots, which is, 2.5 20 slot bags, but it's better than nothing as a starting point. The other thing while we're on the screen is I have built the research for everything except Art of War, which I think is going to be very outdated come Heart of Thorns implementation. So I have built for politics because that gives me the ability to build a guild emblem. I've built for economy, even though that's going to probably go away as well. These banners, which will disappear probably, are useful to me in the short term until Heart of Thorns actually goes live. And architecture we need up to actually level 6 in order to build the deep cave, which is the biggest of the guild vaults. So at the moment we've built our guild stash, took a couple of days, took quite a bit of influence. You'll notice I started with 4,000, I'm now down to just a little over 500. Now to go on to do research architecture level 3 I need 5,000 influence, and then whatever the price is of level 4, it's probably going to be 10,000 or 7,500, and I'm going to need level 4 in order to pay my 5,000 influence to build my guild treasure trove, and that will get me up to the 100 slot vault. And then I would need another level of research plus the guild treasure trove to do the deep cave, which gets me another 100 slots. So I should, by the end of this, have 250 slots that I can share across my characters on my account. Now, a word of warning here. This is just like WoW World of Warcraft guild vaults, or banks, is that you cannot put account-bound items into a guild vault. Of course, you can't put soul-bound items into anything but your personal stash. But if you want to share anything that's account-bound with your alts, you're going to have to do it via the normal bank material store capability that is shared across the account. Anything that goes into your guild vault is going to be not account bound and not soul bound. But there are some interesting mats that for some reason aren't allowed into your materials storage as mats, crafting materials like vision crystals, very expensive things that are needed at the ascended level of crafting, and you cannot store those other than in something like your bank or your guild bank. So it's been handy for a few things like that. Now, obviously, if it's not a personal guild, I wouldn't recommend putting your vision crystals in there because they're probably going to disappear. Okay, so where are we next? Next step will be to find 5,000 influence. So we're off to go get some gold, and then we will come back to our little friend over here. Welcome. Who takes contributions. So he will give you 1,000 influence for 2 gold. The ones that are less are not terribly interesting to me. Or if you give him 20 gold, he'll give you 10,000 influence. So it simply becomes a matter now of grinding for gold. So what did we get for this so far? We talked to our pal the banker here, and as you can see, just off of one level 80 character, I filled up the 50 slots already without any real difficulty. What have I got in there? This is a jewel crafter, so some jewels for other characters as they level up to get to that level. I've got some sigils that I have retrieved off of salvaging that they could use. And we've got our foxfire clusters, for example, stored in here. And so what we have now is that this is just about full, so any of my characters can see this. She has still a bunch of stuff. Oh, I guess the vision crystal, sorry, is account bound, so we can't put it into the guild stash, but good try. The foxfire crystals, however, do go in there. So whatever was account bound right now, she's hanging on to until she expands her account level storage. Okay, so this is where we are at the moment, and we're going to go off for a few days, hunt some gold, come back, buy some influence, and then start research level 3 building in our Guild G panel. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with part 4 in a while.